DeMarco watched as Mahoney squared his big body, took in a breath, and stroked the ball. He hit it straight, but too hard, and the ball rimmed the cup and shot off perpendicular to its original vector. "Son of a bitch," Mahoney muttered. "Greens are fast today." "Yeah, right," DeMarco thought. "Like they waxed the grass just before you got here." Mahoney was almost 6 feet tall and broad across the chest, back, and butt. A substantial gut gave balance to his body. He was in his 60s. His hair was white and full, his features were large, and his eyes were the watery, red-veined blue of a heavy drinker. He dropped another ball onto the grass. "The guy I want you to meet will be here in a minute. He just went up to the clubhouse to get us some beer." Mahoney stroked the ball smoothly, and this one dropped in. "Now, that's better." DeMarco knew Mahoney had been a fair athlete in high school, football, basketball, and baseball. He went into the Marines at 17, and when he was discharged, his right knee shredded by shrapnel, the only sports he played had involved beer steins and co-eds. But even in his 60s, he exhibited the hand-eye coordination of an athlete, and in spite of his size, moved lightly on his feet. "Here he comes now," Mahoney said. Walking toward the green, carrying a small cooler, was a man about Mahoney's age. He was 5'8", stocky, and had a round head with a flat nose and short gray hair. As he got closer, DeMarco could see his eyes, bright blue and surrounded by a million crow's feet from squinting into the sun. He had the eyes of a fighter pilot, which he'd once been. The man was the Secretary of the Navy, Frank Hathaway. Hathaway studied DeMarco, probably wondering what a hard-looking guy in a suit was doing standing on the practice green. DeMarco was 5'11", and had broad shoulders, big arms, and a heavy chest. He was a good-looking man. Full dark hair, a strong nose, a dimple in a big chin, and blue eyes. But he looked tough, tougher than he really was. Hathaway acknowledged DeMarco with a nod, then said to Mahoney, "Al's in the parking lot talking on his cell phone. He'll meet us on the first tee. Andy won't be able to make it, though. His secretary called and said there's a fire drill in progress. 2 Saudis they caught trying to cross in from Canada, up near Buffalo." Andy was General Andrew Banks, Secretary of Homeland Security. Mahoney stroked the ball toward the hole. It dropped in. Gesturing with his putter at DeMarco, he said, "Frank, this is Joe DeMarco, the guy I was telling you about." Hathaway stuck out a small, hard hand, and DeMarco shook it. "John says you do odd jobs for Congress," Hathaway said. "Yes, sir." John was John Fitzpatrick Mahoney, Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, and DeMarco worked for him, although no organizational chart showed this to be the case. DeMarco liked to think of himself as Mahoney's personal troubleshooter, but odd jobs guy was accurate enough. "There's Al," Mahoney said, pointing his chin at a golf cart driven by a man so tall that his head almost touched the canvas roof of the cart. DeMarco recognized him, too. Albert Ferris, a one-time forward for the Portland Trail Blazers, and currently the senior senator from Oregon. Just 4 guys playing a round of golf. A United States Senator, the Speaker of the House, the Secretary of Homeland Security, and the Secretary of the Navy. "Joe, do you golf?" Hathaway said. Well, yeah, he plays," Mahoney said as he pulled a can of beer from the cooler and popped the top. "Well, since Andy can't make it, why don't you play the front 9 with us?" Hathaway said. "You ride with me, and I'll tell you what I need while we're playing." "I'm not exactly dressed for it." DeMarco was wearing a freshly dry-cleaned suit, a white shirt, and his favorite tie. "And I don't have any clubs," he added, already knowing that the only excuse that would work was polio. Just take off your jacket," Mahoney said. "It's fucking golf, not football. And you can share Frank's clubs. Let's get going." Shit. And he was wearing brand-new loafers. "Yeah, sounds great," DeMarco said. He removed his tie, folded it carefully, and put it in the inside pocket of his suit jacket. He took off his suit jacket and placed it neatly in the little basket on the golf cart. Immediately after he did so, Mahoney put the beer cooler in the basket, squashing down his jacket. At the first tee, he was introduced to Senator Ferris. Ferris was 6'7". During his playing days, he'd been the guy they sent into the game to cripple the opposition's star. Ferris's best shot had been an elbow to the ribs. The expression on his face was far too serious for someone about to play a friendly game of golf. Hathaway told Ferris that DeMarco would be riding with him. "That's good," Ferris said. "I want Mahoney with me so I can keep an eye on him." "Ah," Mahoney said, "you're just sore because I kicked your ass last time." "You didn't kick my ass. You won by one friggin' stroke. And I still think you moved your ball on the 10th hole." "Bullshit," Mahoney said. "Now get your skinny butt up there and tee off." Jesus, DeMarco was thinking. And these guys run the damn country. Ferris's drive found the left side of the fairway 240 yards from the tee. Mahoney's tee shot was slightly longer, also ending up on the left edge of the fairway. Hathaway hit his shot a respectable 210, and it landed square in the middle of the fairway, as if the Titleist was a wire-guided missile. This wasn't good. DeMarco took a couple of practice swings with the driver he'd selected from Hathaway's bag. The grip on the club didn't feel right. It was too small for his hand. I haven't played in a couple of months." Yeah, come on, take your shot," Mahoney said. DeMarco swung. He made good contact. It felt good. It sounded good. And the ball sliced so far to the right that it ended up on the adjacent fairway. "Christ, Joe," Mahoney said. "You play that way, we'll be here all day." As Hathaway drove the golf cart over to find DeMarco's ball, he said, "It's my nephew, my sister's kid. He's an engineer, and he works at this Navy shipyard. He thinks some guys out there are committing fraud." "What kind of fraud?" "I'm not too clear on that," Hathaway said. "Something to do with some kind of bogus study and the people doing it overcharging the government. Dave, my nephew, he tried to tell his bosses what was going on, but they blew him off, which is why my sister called me, all pissed, demanding I do something." DeMarco topped the ball on his next shot, and it went about 20 yards. It was Hathaway's midget-sized irons. That's what the problem was. He hit a third shot, and he was finally on the fairway. The right fairway. "So anyway," Hathaway said when they were back in the cart, "I'd like you to check the kid's story out and tell me if he's on to something. John says you've done stuff like this before, and I wouldn't think this would be all that hard. I've been involved with whistleblowers before, but, well, why don't you just call up somebody who works for you and ask them to look into it?" "The problem is," Hathaway said, "I'm the Secretary of the Navy, Joe. If I told my people to look into it, in 2 hours there'd be 20 NCIS agents running around that shipyard questioning every swinging dick who works there. And, well, there's something else." Hathaway turned and looked away for a moment, as if telling the truth bothered him. "Both my sister and her kid, it must be genetic. They tend to be a little, dramatic." Now this was starting to make sense. "I see," DeMarco said. "So, just check this out quietly, okay? If it turns out that there's something to what my nephew's saying, I'll have it officially investigated." "Okay," DeMarco said. Not that he really had a choice. On the 6th hole, Mahoney's and DeMarco's balls were both in the rough. Ferris was on the other side of the fairway looking for his ball, and Hathaway, as usual, was in the center of the fairway. Mahoney looked down at his ball. It was behind a small tree. Then he looked over to where Ferris was standing. "Come here a minute," he said to DeMarco. DeMarco figured Mahoney wanted to know what he and Hathaway had been talking about. As DeMarco approached Mahoney, he heard Ferris yell, "Hey, Mahoney! What the hell are you doing over there?" DeMarco looked over at Ferris, and when he turned back toward Mahoney, Mahoney's ball was no longer behind the tree. Mahoney had used DeMarco to block Ferris's view. On the putting green, Ferris said, "DeMarco, what did Mahoney do back there? Did he kick his ball out?" Come on, let's get going here," Mahoney said. "And as usual, you're away, Ferris." Ferris's ball was about 6 feet from the cup. As Ferris took his putter from his bag, Mahoney said to Hathaway, "Frank, I'll bet you a beer Ferris two-putts this hole. Just like when he choked on that free throw in the playoffs in Chicago." DeMarco saw the senator's face flush.